A presence approached me. It was calm, powerful, and ancient. It didn't speak with words, but the message was unmistakable. You're not supposed to be here. There was no anger in it, only certainty and finality. Welcome to Let's Lift the Veil. Tonight's story is not fiction. It is not a dream. It is a testimony. At just 20 years old, a young woman experienced something that should have been impossible, leaving her body, traveling through darkness, meeting a deceased loved one, and entering a realm of overwhelming light and unconditional love before being sent back. What she discovered on the other side would change her understanding of life, death, and the very purpose of existence forever. This near-death experience contains sensitive themes, but it also carries a powerful message of resilience, forgiveness, and hope. If you appreciate thoughtful, respectful explorations of near-death experiences and spiritual journeys, consider subscribing and supporting the channel. Your presence helps these voices be heard. This story is inspired by a real testimony that you can read by clicking the link in the description or the one pinned in the first comment. We invite you now to listen with an open mind and an open heart. Now close your eyes, breathe in, and let's lift the veil together. I was 20 years old when I finally understood what had happened to me, but the night it occurred, I was just a sleeping child. The house was quiet, the kind of heavy silence that presses against your ears and makes every small detail feel louder. I remember the faint smell of laundry detergent in the sheets, the soft texture of my quilt against my skin, and the dull shine of a copper pot hanging on the wall catching the moonlight. Everything felt ordinary, safe, forgettable, and then nothing. No sound, no movement, no fear, just a strange sensation, like sinking backward into warm water. My body grew distant, and before I could even question it, I realized I wasn't inside myself anymore. I was floating. There was no effort and no struggle. I simply drifted upward toward the ceiling, weightless and calm. What struck me immediately was how incredibly aware I felt. My thoughts were faster, clearer, brighter than they had ever been. Everything around me looked sharper than reality itself. The copper pot shimmered with tiny reflections of color I had never noticed before. The fabric of my quilt revealed threads and patterns that seemed alive. Even the air felt luminous, almost conscious. When I looked down, I saw my body lying in the bed below me, arms folded across my chest, completely still. Too still. But strangely, I didn't feel attached to it. It didn't feel like me. It felt like something I had already outgrown, like an old coat I had taken off. As I hovered near the ceiling, sunlight suddenly streamed through the window in brilliant golden rays, and with that light, someone appeared. Lucy, my cousin. But she didn't look solid or physical. She looked like me, translucent, soft, almost made of light. We didn't speak. We didn't need to. Recognition happened instantly, heart to heart. We greeted each other with pure joy, like children reunited after years apart. We spun and twirled together in the air, laughing without sound, weightless and free. It felt playful and innocent, like happiness in its purest form. There was no pain, no fear, no memory of anything bad. Just freedom. After a while, Lucy reached for me, and together we began moving upward. Suddenly, we were inside a tunnel, completely dark except for an intensely bright light far above us. Yet, even though it looked distant, we traveled toward it instantly, faster than thought. Time didn't behave normally anymore. Everything happened all at once. My senses were unbelievably vivid. Colors were deeper, smells richer, warmth more comforting than anything I had ever known. I felt more alive than I had ever felt while living. Then we arrived at the light. But there was no ground, no sky, no direction. Just light everywhere. A living light, soft but infinitely powerful. And love, overwhelming love. Not emotional or romantic love, but something far greater. Something that felt like the very substance of existence itself. It wrapped around me completely. It filled me, dissolved me, expanded me. I felt safe in a way I had never felt safe before. Completely accepted, completely known, completely home. There were beings there, glowing softly, laughing together, welcoming Lucy. They were expecting her. They greeted her like family returning from a long journey. I watched as they reviewed her life, almost like a celebration of everything she had learned and experienced. There was no judgment, only understanding and compassion. As I stood there, surrounded by this endless warmth, I suddenly understood everything. Life felt simple, clear. The universe seemed built on only two truths, love and knowledge. Nothing else mattered, not fear, not suffering, not death, just love and learning. For a moment, it felt like I knew everything about existence, as if every question I had ever asked had already been answered. Then something shifted. A presence approached me. It was calm, powerful, and ancient. It didn't speak with words, but the message was unmistakable. You're not supposed to be here. There was no anger in it, only certainty and finality. And suddenly, I felt myself pulled backward, faster and faster. The light shrinking away, the warmth fading, Lucy disappearing into the distance. Then came pressure. Heavy pressure on my chest, air forced into my lungs, lips against mine. My eyes opened abruptly. My mother was walking away from my bed with a pillow in her hands. My arms were still folded across my chest like a corpse. My body felt weak and foreign. She seemed irritated and told me I wouldn't wake up. But deep inside, I knew the truth. I hadn't been asleep. I had been gone. Later that day, we received a phone call. Lucy had died that very morning, the exact same morning I met her in the light. That was the moment everything inside me changed forever. My life, behind the veil. Recovery was slow and quiet. I didn't wake up transformed or radiant. I woke up weak, confused, and disconnected from my body. Hospitals, rest, and observation followed. But something fundamental had shifted inside me. I wasn't afraid of death anymore. Not even a little. How could I be? I had already been somewhere more real than this world. For years, I tried to explain what happened. At first, I thought maybe I had psychic abilities or some form of extrasensory perception. But eventually, I understood the truth. It wasn't psychic, it was death. I had crossed over and returned. Accepting that truth meant also accepting something much harder. The reality of the abuse I had endured as a child. Coming to terms with what my mother had done took decades. Yet strangely, the experience didn't leave me bitter. It made me resilient. It made me compassionate. After feeling that level of unconditional love, hatred simply felt too heavy to carry. I chose forgiveness, not because anyone deserved it, but because I deserved peace. My relationship with religion changed completely. I stopped believing in rituals and rigid doctrines. Churches began to feel too small for what I had experienced. What I encountered was bigger than any label or system. Now I simply believe that we all return to a higher power, a source of love and knowledge, and that we live many lives, learning lessons each time like climbing the rungs of an endless ladder. Everything we learn, we carry forward. Sometimes I sense things more deeply than others do, like subtle intuitions, strong empathy, moments of quiet knowing. Maybe it's not a gift. Maybe it's just remembering what love truly feels like. When I share my story, some people believe me immediately. Others doubt or dismiss it. And that's okay. I don't need validation. I remember. I can still feel that light inside my chest whenever I close my eyes. And whenever life feels heavy, whenever old wounds resurface, I think back to that place, that endless, gentle, infinite love, and I know this world isn't the end. It's only one step in a much larger journey. When my time truly comes again, I won't be afraid. I'll simply return home. Thank you for watching this near-death experience. Some experiences do not end when the heart starts beating again. They follow a person for an entire lifetime, reshaping fears into strength, pain into compassion, and uncertainty into purpose. Stories like this remind us that death may not be an ending, but a transition, and that love might be the only thing we truly carry with us. If this testimony resonated with you, consider leaving a like, sharing the video, or writing a comment. Every interaction helps this channel continue to document and preserve these extraordinary human experiences. For more first-hand accounts, watch the next episode on the following screen. New narratives drop regularly. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss one. Let's keep lifting the veil, one episode at a time. Take care of yourself and your loved ones. See you soon for another journey beyond the veil.